All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new movie and TV show update. And we have a lot to cover in this video, so we're going to get started pretty quick. And some of this stuff, just like the last video, some of this is going to be pretty cool and interesting. So let's not waste any time and get right into the news. All right, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about here, and this is pretty cool, this was just posted a few minutes ago by the official Rebel Moon account on Twitter. And it says, do you want to dive into Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, earlier? If you're in one of these U.S. cities, luck might just be on your side. Keep those peepers wide open for local promos. Advanced tickets could be yours. So they're going to be in Austin, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Detroit, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and San Diego. And so I am going to jump all over this. I should have my tickets, and it looks like this showing is going to be next Friday on the 15th. So I am definitely going to get tickets for that day, and I will definitely have my review up as soon as I get done watching that movie. But for those who are interested, you could go see that movie early. I actually signed up for a notification on Fandango, but I'm going to be on that site probably refreshing it every hour until I see tickets go up. All right, now, for those who don't watch my DC updates, this might be of interest to you if you like the Batman movie. There is news here on The Penguin Show that is going to be on HBO Max, which is just now Max. It says the Penguin will pick up days after the Batman ended, exploring the moves that Cobblepot makes in the power vacuum left by Falcone's departure. So this is going to be a follow-up to the Batman film that will lead into the Batman Part 2. So some people might be interested in knowing that that TV show is coming in 2024 on Max. Now this is pretty cool. Right after I posted my last update, this almost prompted me to do an update just on this alone. But it says Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio will reprise their roles together for a new Karate Kid movie in theaters on December 13th, 2024. So they're going to be jumping all over this. As soon as Ralph Macchio is done with the current show that is airing on Netflix, he is going to jump into this movie. And we don't know if this is going to be a continuation of the show or if this will be something completely different. And we'll see if Will Smith's son is going to be a part of this or not. It should be interesting. I am looking forward to this because the show has been phenomenal. And so I am looking forward to this. And I can't wait until more information gets released on this. This is also another post for people who don't follow my DC updates, but Constantine 2 is on the way from Warner Brothers. And it says Constantine director Francis Lawrence is working to get the sequel off the ground with Keanu Reeves. And he said, we're probably going to start getting back together after Thanksgiving and dig back in and try to crack it. And so this is coming in the next several years. This will probably be released in 2025 under the Elseworlds banner of the DC brand. Now, since my last update, it was also announced that Dave Filoni is taking over basically the whole Star Wars universe. He will now oversee all Star Wars projects as Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, meaning he is going to be involved from the day one planning, which I personally think is a good idea, and I still need to do my video on my thoughts on this, which I will have hopefully this weekend. Here's some Tron 3 news. It says Tron 3 is finally set to start filming for Disney. Tron Ares to finally begin filming after the holidays. So it looks like this will be getting a January start and will probably be released in 2025. I really liked the second film and really hope that this is a true sequel to it. But without the same director and the same actors coming back, I don't have a lot of hope for it. This is one of those things that I found to be pretty cool. It says Tim Allen is in talks for a Home Improvement spin-off. Not a reboot, but an actual spin-off of the original show. I think that would do pretty well right now. So this is another video I'm going to be doing soon, talking just specifically about physical media. But this is Oscar-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro has backed Christopher Nolan in calls for owning physical media. He actually calls it a responsibility. And I would agree here. You can't trust these streaming networks to hold on to anything, and there are plenty of movies that are not available. For instance, I wanted to go see this movie. What was that movie? I can't remember. It was I can't remember the name. At any rate, there was a movie that came out back in the late 90s, early 2000s that I wanted to go watch, and it's not even streaming anywhere. And I couldn't believe, and this happens more often than not when I go to look for a movie, and I don't own it, and it's not streaming anywhere. And that's horrible when they expect you to pay for these streaming services. They should be unlocking their vault for the people who pay money to subscribe to those services. And until that happens, physical media is going to be around, and I'm a big proponent on physical media. Now, this is just an interesting movie fact that I pulled out. Joe Johnston, who directed the movie The Rocketeer, for a lot of people who didn't know this, he was actually the one who created Boba Fett for Empire Strikes Back. And I've known this for years, but I came across this, thought I'd clip it. It's just one of those interesting movie information pieces that I think is pretty neat. And so Joe Johnston was the one who created Boba Fett, and he directed The Rocketeer. And The Rocketeer is one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. And so I knew this fact, but thought it was interesting, thought I'd pass that on. This is for all those Twilight fans that are out there. The original director of Twilight, the first movie, which I think is one of the worst movies, top 5 worst movies I have ever seen. And because of that first film, I didn't watch any of the others. But the original director says that Jenna Ortega and Jacob Elordi would be amazing if they decided to do a reboot. But please, don't do a reboot. I beg you. Now, this is one of those goofy things. You have the director of the last Thor film. He came out and said, I had no interest in doing one of those films. But I was poor, and I thought, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to feed my children. And Thor, let's face it, it was probably the least popular franchise. I never read Thor comics as a kid. Taika Waititi. Yeah, that guy is interesting. He's an interesting one in Hollywood. He likes to basically troll people during interviews, and I think this is one of those trolling things, but I thought it was kind of a goofy statement to make, but he's kind of a goofy guy to begin with. So Avatar 3 will be coming, and James Cameron gave an update and says that Avatar 3 is on track to meet its December 19th, 2025 release date. We're into a very hectic 2 years of post-production right now, so it will be Christmas of 2025. So I thought this was pretty cool. Timothy Olyphant joins Noah Hawley's FX series, this Alien film, or not film, but TV show. There's actually 2 Alien projects coming up, and we're going to look at the movie that is going to be released very soon as well. But there is a TV show coming, and we're going to see who Timothy Olyphant is scheduled to play here. It says, details about Olyphant's character are not being disclosed. I hear he plays Kirsch, a synth who acts as a mentor and trainer for Chandler's Wendy, who is a hybrid, a metahuman who has the brain and consciousness of a child, but the body of an adult. Executively produced by Ridley Scott, the new Alien series is set in a time period before Sigourney Weaver's Ripley and is the first story in the franchise that takes place on Earth, roughly 70 years in the future. Production on the show began in Thailand July 19th, 4 days after the start of the actor strike, without SAG-AFTRA members, including Chandler. Filming continued for more than a month with cast who were affiliated with the Equity British Trade Union. So I'm actually looking forward to this show, and I'm looking forward to the new movie because we're going to see what this new movie is all about here in a few minutes. So recently, Disney came out and admitted that they had been focused too much on identity politics, and Bob Iger came out and said that him and other Disney execs say that their main goal is now quality over quantity and also over those identity politics. And so things may be changing over at Disney because they have lost so much money. Some early reviews of Wonka have come out, and everybody is saying that Timothy Chalamet, I don't know how you say his name, is earning rave reviews and being called infinitely charming. This movie does get released next week. I do plan on seeing it and getting a review up as soon as it gets released. So a lot of people have been asking for A Nightmare Before Christmas 2. And Tim Burton came out and basically said that there's not going to be one. He said, it's nice that people are maybe interested in another one, but I'm not. I feel like that old guy who owns a little piece of property and won't sell to the big power plant that wants to take my land. Get off my land, you pesky little. And that comes from Tim Burton himself. And yes, leave that movie alone. It is amazing. We watch it every year, and it should be a standalone film that doesn't ever get a sequel. So this goes back to what I talked about a few minutes ago about Bob Iger, and it's interesting how he words this. He said, Bob Iger says creators at Disney have lost sight of what their job should be. Entertain first, not messages. He adds that stories infused with positive messages for the world can be great, but it shouldn't be the primary job. It's funny that that's how he words this, because that isn't what Disney has always had positive messages for the world. What he's saying here is that they've basically focused too much on identity politics and that they're going to be moving away from that. And it's funny how he words this like this to make it the audience's fault for not gravitating towards that stuff, which is, quite frankly, ridiculous. All right, so here's my favorite news of the day. And it says Alien Romulus, which is the name of the new movie that should be released, I think, in 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they'll push it off to 2025. I'm assuming and hoping that this will come out this coming summer in 2024. But it says Alien Romulus is set between the original film and Aliens. So they're going to be filling in a gap there, which probably tells a story of the colony that was there on the planet. I'd be interested in seeing this because that could be a very entertaining film. And if they do it right, and my hopes on this, I hope on this that it's kind of like The Thing. The Thing is one of my favorite movies that came out of the 80s. But then you had The Thing that came out, about 10 years ago, and it was a great sequel to the original. And they mesh together really well, but you do want to watch them in order. You want to watch the original Thing first and then watch the other one, and they complement each other quite well. That's kind of what I'm hoping Alien Romulus will be. Now, I found this to be fascinating. I've heard rumors of this before, but it says Will Smith confirms he will star in I Am Legend 2 with Michael B. Jordan. I have a call with Michael B. Jordan tomorrow. The script just came in. We're going with the DVD version where my character lived. And yeah, for people who don't own this movie, I own this movie, and there were some not post-credit scenes, some, extra scenes or alternate versions of scenes. And one of those scenes, Will Smith's character actually survived. And it looks like that's the version they're going to go with. And so hopefully they will re-release the movie on home video with the version that's going to mesh with the sequel. Now, I thought this was kind of interesting. It's Andy Serkis, who played Snoke in the first two Star Wars sequels that came out from Disney. And I agree with him on this, and I think The Last Jedi is going to be always considered the worst movie in the franchise. But he said, when I went in to read The Last Jedi, I spent the first 30 pages thinking, this is the most incredible character. Then I turned the page, and it said, and then Snoke gets sliced in half, and I was gutted. Gutted. Every one of the main cast hated what they did. And this is interesting because, as time goes on, more and more people come out and talk about how they did not agree with the creative decisions that were made for that film. And it's crazy because I despise that movie. One of my earliest video reviews is of The Last Jedi, and you should go look for that in my retro reviews, because that, I think, was the very first video review I had ever done, and I ranted about that movie and why it was terrible. And so all the main actors have now come out at some point and said negative things about their experience and not agreeing with the creative decisions that were made on that film. So this is for people who are not aware of this. I didn't know this movie was being made, but there's some movie coming out called Sasquatch Sunset. And it stars Jesse Eisenberg as Sasquatch. He's in full makeup, full body hair, no lines. He says, I grunt, but there are no lines. And it's executively produced by Ari Aster and is releasing in 2024. So that's a picture from the movie, but there's no detail and there hasn't been a trailer or anything just yet. Here's another update on Rebel Moon. It is actually landing on Netflix a day earlier than expected. It is going to start streaming December 21st instead of the 22nd at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Another bit of Avatar 3 news here. It says, when Avatar 3 opens in theaters on December 19th, 2025, it will not be called Avatar the Seed Bearer, as James Cameron once considered. I'm qualified to tell you that this is not the title for Avatar 3, says producer John Landau. And that comes from Variety. All right, guys, so there's my 9th movie and TV show update. I think I'm going to reserve Fridays for doing these reviews on the movies and TV show news and all that stuff that I find throughout the week and start reporting them on Friday mornings. So I do appreciate all the support. If there's anything you'd like me to include in these movie and TV show updates, feel free to message me with that information along with pictures. I do appreciate all the support. We will see you on the next video.